Hey everybody, welcome to the 20th episode of Comic Art Live. I'm Bill Cox, of course, and as always, I am joined by my three compadres, Glenn Brunswick, Will Gabrielle, and Mike Berkey. Look at this, I'm going to move myself out of here, flipping, flopping, get that right there. So, guys, I mean, even before we jump into the whole Heritage auction, which was pretty spectacular in a lot of ways, almost hitting $6 million for the original comic art section of their $14+ million event auction. I mean, the last 2 weeks were pretty huge. I mean, combined between the Christie's Huberty Byrne auction the week before, you got Comic Art Live, then you have the Daniel Megan had an auction in Europe that was also on Thursday. It's mostly European art, but there was a few U.S. pieces in there as well. And you factor it all together, and there was over $11 million in original art sales in the 2 weeks, leading up to the end of the Heritage auction. So that's pretty.
I thought you were just talking about Mike Berkey's site on the.
Mike's monthly sales.
Well, it's funny. Mike actually didn't make it into the list a couple weeks ago on my dealer market report. Yeah, don't frown like that, Mike. I'm sorry, you didn't.
I saw that and I didn't understand why, but
it's shocking. Shocking.
He took the week off. You think it was like a holiday or something?
Were you in Vegas?
He was in Vegas.
No, actually, I don't know. I put some stuff up, but I guess it didn't make it on the list. I haven't even checked it this week. I forgot to.
Man, you're always you're correcting my poor grammar, so you should check it out. I'm relying on you every week, Berkey, to spot check.
I did. I just forgot yesterday. I was into football yesterday, so for my fantasy football leagues,
I know. All that money you've been making.
That's where that 11 million is.
It comes and it goes.
Yes. Yeah, easy come, easy go. Anyway, so the auction, was pretty. I don't know. Did you guys? Obviously, you probably watched live for all of the art sections of the auction. I know that one day we were chatting, on Thursday, but I didn't catch any of the other days' auctions live. Did you guys watch them all?
I did.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I watched Thursday. And no, I was absent Friday and Saturday.
All right.
But I looked at the results afterwards so that I could participate today without being scolded.
Well, I do appreciate that, Glenn. Well, should we just jump in and talk? I kind of save pieces by price. So I'm kind of starting from there. I hope that doesn't throw everybody off if we just jump right into that Jim Lee cover.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Sure.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness. I hope nobody spent money on that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a classic. Modern classic.
It is a modern classic. It is a beautiful cover.
I don't get the title. How can we be back together again for the first time? That's my question. It's
a flashback story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you gotta read the story to know, Mike. It's they're all meeting back in the 40s or something for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Not quite, but
I was just wondering because it didn't make sense to me when I read that.
Well, you were just telling us you were not an X-Men guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's 300,000 with the juice, of course. I think a lot of people thought it could have went a little higher or a little lower. It was. I wasn't quite sure where it was going to end up. I mean, is this about where you guys expected it?
It's tough to say with you. Go ahead, Glenn.
I mean, I kind of feel like if it went for 200, that makes sense. If it went for 400, that makes sense. It's like one of those things that, whoever you feel like whoever's involved is going to push it higher or lower. It's clearly a classic cover. Jim Lee is like a modern master, as we all know. The X-Men run is his first major work. This is probably pointed to by so many collectors as his best cover. And I mean, I guess what's surprising is that it went for more money than like a really good, or at least the same as a really good Byrne Austin X-Men cover would go for. And that's supposed to be the pinnacle. So by those standards, I guess it's expensive, but I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, I kind of understand the price.
It is hard to pinpoint where Jim's prices are. And Glenn is correct that it's sort of like who is available that day that wants it, that has the money at that moment. There is quite a bit of swing value on this, I would say. But, I mean, I thought it was going to go right around 250 was my thought prior to the auction. So 300 didn't feel like, you know, much above that. Of course, it is a lot of money, but relatively speaking. But yeah, I mean, it could have been pushed up. I mean, you know, there are shocking prices sometimes with Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and others of that era. And, you know, there's a lot of people that love this work, but when you reach this sort of level piece, there's only a limited number of people that can really reach deep and grab this. And as far as Byrne X-Men, I think that's kind of untested. We haven't seen a Byrne X-Men cover come to auction in a while. And if you know, this is sort of an iconic Jim Lee X-Men cover. I think there are some that are regarded as better, but this is certainly one of the most memorable and iconic. And I think if you had equivalent level Byrne cover, I think it would exceed this price for X-Men.
I thought it was going to go for more. I heard a rumor that a price was offered higher than what it sold for privately, and supposedly the owner put it in the auction. So,
and that happens, right?
Yeah,
we all know that happens. Make private offers, and
as I was saying, sometimes you get lucky at auction, luckier at auction. Sometimes you don't. So
yeah.
Well, I was expecting it to go a little bit higher myself. That was my feeling as well, but only because it, you know, you're not going to get another Jim Lee run on the X-Men more than likely, and it was a well hyped auction. I thought they marketed it really well, and my expectations were different. But you know, there's only 2 more months to wait till the next signature auction, so you don't know what we'll have on that one.
Well, clearly you love that X-Men cover, Bill, because I noticed you put it as your header on the Comic Art Fans Facebook page.
That is true. You know, I was I never know what to do with on that thing, and I was thinking going into that I would just start kind of putting a highlighted piece from any upcoming auction. What's that?
Somebody was asking what did it sell for. They didn't know.
Sean.
300
gestures, but yeah,
we'll tell the prices if we know them. Yeah.
That's more than $300, though.
Yes. Now this one sold.
The rest of my O's out.
This one sold for $192,000.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Guess I missed this one.
Yeah.
Is this by somebody famous? What the heck is this that sold for so much?
Mark Schulz back in 1950. Oh wait, they took the C out.
Wasn't this? I think I read the description on this one. It was something like one of the first.
It's from the second month.
Second month, right? So like the 50th or so.
Yeah. The first strip was October 2nd, 1950. This is November 17th, 1950.
Is that Charlie Brown?
I was going to say, look at Charlie.
That's actually Shermy. I didn't realize they state that Snoopy was actually owned by Shermy like the first year of the strip.
Wow.
I didn't
realize Snoopy was a hand-me-down dog.
Shermy owned Snoopy back in the day, or Snoopy owned Shermy, one or the other.
Wow.
It's confusing.
I don't know. $192,000. You don't even get Charlie Brown.
You know, like Anchor just mentioned, I followed this one live. Oddly enough, it was actually said fair warning live, like at 30 grand, and I'm going like, oh my gosh, and then just boom, 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 went up to 160 plus the juice to 192. Wow. So.
Is the Mike? Is the estate involved again in buying?
I believe they still buy, and I would lay pretty good odds they were either the winner or the underbidder.
I mean that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but wow, what a strip and what a price.
Or one person in an estate.
Yeah.
So this is Todd McFarlane, I believe.
Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man 328, page 17, went for $120K.
Yeah, it's a hell of an iconic image, you know, for Todd's version of Spider-Man, which admittedly kind of roped me back into collecting comics again. It was out during, I don't know, senior year of high school, first year of college, and kind of brought me back in. So, I mean, it's great stuff. I mean, you know, and this is a great image. I've owned, I no longer, but I've owned several pieces by Todd, including covers. And I mean, this is, you know, image-wise, it's about
great.
as good as it gets.
Isn't 120K kind of like cover money? Can we say that it's cover money? I mean, it's
see, again, you know, we've seen Marvel Tales covers by Todd do like 50, 60, and we've seen them do 150.
Well, you know, everybody knows one hardcore collector's trying to complete this book. So when people know that, you know, the prices are going to drive up on good stuff.
Right. This is the issue with the Hulk. Is that the?
Yeah, that's the Hulk throwing a
328
on the bottom panel. Yeah. This is the start of the battle with Spidey and the Hulk.
I don't know that everybody knew he was trying to put it together, but maybe they do
now.
The cat is out of the bag.
Yeah, I said a collector. Yeah. So.
No, he's reached out. He's made himself known to some of us.
Oh, you have to, because I'll always offer him something if I ever get a page to it. So
sure.
Well, 100. I would call 120K cover money though, Glenn.
Yeah, no, that's
a lot. I mean, it's. I mean, have any? Mike would know this better than the rest of us.
I
splashes even gone for this much? Yeah. Any full page splashes?
I sold the cover to 303 or 305 last year for just over $100,000. So it was a good cover. So 1 year ago. So no, this is a strong price, but it's a key issue. So
yeah.
Right.
But have any splashes gone this high, Mike?
No, never.
Yeah, but they've gone there's been splashes that have done like 60, 70, 80, right?
I would just say between 50 and 75.
Okay.
So I want to tell you guys one thing that happened to me in the past few days. Two collectors reached out to me, two separate collectors, to ask me, based on this sale alone, what their panel pages that have Spider-Man on them are worth.
Yeah.
And so one of them bought their page last year for in the high 20s, and another one bought their page for like 30. And I basically told them, like, you know, this is like one data point. Like, your pages are maybe worth like slightly more than you paid for them, like by you know, $1,000 or $2. But you know, I mean, you know, at this point, this just feels like a data point. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, the whole market has, you know, like they were insinuating that their pages might be worth 50K.
Yeah, no, this is just because of that issue. If it's any issue but 328, this page never hits that.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the other thing is, you know what, I mean, art is objective, of course, subjective, excuse me. And, you know, people see a big data point, like you said, and all of a sudden it's, well, my page is, you know, at least 3/4 as good as this one. So isn't it worth 3/4 as, and it doesn't quite
go that way. But it's interesting that that's like the first knee-jerk reaction, you know, that you know, that this tide raises all boats. So
it's the hopeful reaction by most.
Right. And the next question was, can you sell them at that price?
Well,
and your answer is, I wish.
Yeah. Well, you know, but you see that in the hobby a lot. Like, you know, there's a really nice Windsor Smith Marvel Comics Presents page in Comic Link, right? And I've seen a few MCP pages, you know, pop up for sale all at the same time. It seems like, you know, there's always that interest when there's an important piece out there that sells for high or might sell for high. I think it gets the juices flowing on other people who own similar pages, and you know, they either want to move it while they think it's a good opportunity to do it, or you know, or at least like with you, Glenn, they just want to know what you think it's worth. So
right.
I get it.
No, I get it too. It's not. I mean, it makes total sense. It's just it just is an interesting phenomenon that happens when something sells for big money.
Yep. All right, so we'll go on to the next one, and I'm skipping. I didn't put any of all that Magic the Gathering artwork that was in the show. I thought it was all pretty cool and sold for a lot more money than I would have ever guessed. But we're skipping all of that.
Okay.
So next up is it's a complete 17-page story. Jack Kirby, Mike Royer, Captain America 210, sold for 108 with the juice.
So full disclosure, I have to say that I actually was the one that purchased this piece, so I'm not really going to discuss it. I'll let you guys hash it out as to whether or not I made a informed purchase or not.
Well, I mean, I can say just from the private chatter, this was one of the pieces that had the most interest. People I excuse me, people I discussed with, and the consensus was it was. It's an outstanding story, and as far as worth, I mean, I think it's worth the money. It's definitely worth the money.
That's good. That's good.
And then some. But from what I understand, this is not something you're like putting on your site for New Year's. So I don't think we're going to get the chance to test that anytime soon.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. How many is there 2 or 3 interiors? Is there 3? Is there 3 or 4?
3, right?
There are three. Well, there's the page 1, and then there are 2 other full splashes, and then the very end page has sort of like a semi splash, but it's not that exciting.
Yeah, but wow, they're fantastic. Well, you'll know that I thought it was worth it. So I think the story is one of the. Arguably, I think it's one of the best stories of the 70s when he came back. So, and I don't think there's another book that ever had 3 splashes in it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, some of them have double page spreads instead.
Oh, that's true. That's true too. That's true too.
The interesting thing is the debate over whether this page 1 or the one of the other chapter splashes is the best. I mean, personally, I think this page 1, but I think the consensus is the other splash is better.
Really? I mean, I think the page 1 is better, but well, I mean,
you certainly get. I always say you get a lot more art on an interior splash. No indicia at the top, no indicia at the bottom. You get almost 1/3 more art on an interior splash than the page 1.
The thing that I thought was cool about the interior cap splash was it's a close-up of Cap's head and the girl's head, but like what's really neat about it is the expression of shock that Kirby conveys on their faces as as they're seeing something. You don't know what it is that they're seeing, but whatever it is, it's pretty shocking. And I think that's pretty neat. But
here, I was just going to pull up the one.
First one. Yeah. Awesome. You can tell Frank Giacoy didn't draw it because there's eyes.
I think isn't that 60s Giacoy and not 70s Giacoy?
Yeah. That's the other one. Yeah, they're beautiful. Wow.
You were the underbidder, weren't you, Mike?
I was actually the underbidder. We didn't know we were both bidding
until afterwards.
And but I thought it was a fantastic book. So, and there's even some pages with the Red Skull in there.
That's right. Yeah. There's a really neat page with the Red Skull. They're 2, but
better than that.
One of them's really neat.
Yeah. So that's
awesome. Folks, not all dealers get along. They were battling it out.
Yeah.
Yep. Mike was knocked out on the canvas.
Yep.
Oh.
Ron Lim says he bid on it too. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Sorry, Ron.
All
right. Sorry, I got too many tabs open here now.
Now this is a Spidey 10. When somebody asked me about this page before, I don't know if there wasn't an image up what I thought this page was worth, and I knew the page right away. Where he's like leaping through the tire and he's battling the enforcers who are working for Mr. Big. I mean, this is like,
and it's their first appearance.
Yeah. Nah, this is a very memorable fight scene, and Spidey's in every panel being very spidery. I mean, he's doing his thing in every panel. It's great.
The last panel kind of looks like a Bugs Bunny animated thing where he's like going through the tires. Like the rest of the pages are pretty cool. I mean, the rest of the panels are pretty cool, but that last panel
But that's the one you remember, though. That's the one I remember. He was jumping through the tire.
Jumping through the tire.
But I think, I mean, from what I gather, the expectation was this page was going to go higher, and it just again kind of illustrates that it really depends on who's bidding that particular day. If it had been a week before, a week after, it might have gone higher. It's luck of the draw, and was the winning bidder or the underbidder, were they bidding on other stuff, and they kind of had to only put so much money towards this. So I mean, a lot of factors.
My feeling is this page was pretty well bought. I mean, it's probably about what it's worth, but when you think about the fact that it is the first appearance of the Enforcers, and Ditko Spidey pages are eclipsing 100. This one seems like Spidey battling in every panel seems like it's about where it should be, or maybe a little higher. So if you can say at $96,000 it's a deal, it certainly went reasonably for what Heritage has been doing lately.
Well, yeah, comparatively, there's no doubt. But I mean, we all know what happens is, these things get bought at auction for 70, 80, 90, whatever, and then they tend to trade hands slightly higher privately. I mean, that's
right.
That's usually what happens when you're talking this quality of Ditko.
Right. These aren't growing on trees anymore like they used to.
They used to be trees, but they're not growing.
Yeah, the wisdom we're imparting today. And this one, and we didn't say this was from issue 10, right? Yes.
Right, issue 10, right.
Got it. All right, let's move on to the next piece.
Hey, and fun fact, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, didn't this whole book sell for like a little more than double that originally?
The whole book sold for $161 in the first year.
I thought it was $190, but okay, yeah.
$161 in 2002.
Whew.
Yeah.
In 2002.
I was almost part of that deal, but it didn't happen.
Tech 31 kid is definitely right. That pea soup puke green color cover just kind of turns people off.
Well, I know it was a Jack cover that looks,
and it's a Jack cover, but I think it's the colors that turn people off more than the yeah.
Yeah, they're probably one of the less memorable of the first appearance groups of the early Spideys.
So I pegged this at going. I thought this was going to do 75,000. That's where I was. So at 72,
yeah,
feels like
full disclosure. This was a consignment piece for me before it got put in Heritage, and the consigner was like really adamant, about not taking less than 100 on this. So I had it at a big number. I think I had it at 110 on my site, which I mean. When the consigner approached me, I told him I thought the sell number was between 65 and 75. I'd like to put it up for 80 and figure it out from there. But
no, I think you could have moved it. I think you could have moved it at 80. I think it would have sold on your site.
Oh, Jason just asked that, so I didn't even see the question. But yeah, full disclosure, I did have this up for what I thought was a hefty number, and yeah, it sold about where I kind of expected it to.
Yeah. So 72,000 on the X-Men 2 giant size cover.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see now. This next one had a lot of interest. This is Jim Lee Ghost Rider number 5 from 1990, sold for 72,000 as well.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, if you compare this with the X-Men cover, it's kind of a deal.
Okay.
No, I mean it's cheaper. I mean it's less, is what I'm saying.
1/4 the price, but
yeah,
for Ghost Rider,
but still very expensive for a Ghost Rider.
I mean,
but a memorable issue from that era.
It is. If you came up to me at a show and said, "What is this worth?" or I mean, I would have thought 50-ish, 55, 60 at the most,
That's what I would have said.
Right.
So it's two people.
Feels strong. Feels a little strong, but
great images of both.
It is. It's nice. Hey, you can look at it even more closely.
Yeah, I didn't realize I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm still learning, guys.
No, great image. Great image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter how old, you're always supposed to learn.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying. So this is Dave Gibbons' Watchmen #6 page, of course, from '86. It sold for $66,000.
So really good content here, and it's Watchmen, and a little higher than I expected, but understandable given you've got Rorschach. And
yeah, I mean, I sold a piece. I can't remember. I think it's from this issue, the issue before, but it was Rorschach confronting the molester, so sort of similar. And I sold it for a little bit less, but it's it seemed like everybody thought it was a strong price I sold it for. So I think this is a little bit better page than the one I sold, but yeah, I would have thought this would have maybe 50. So it was strong.
Yeah. No, Watchmen pages have definitely taken a jump in recent months.
Yeah, there was that unpublished Watchmen page in Comic Art Live that I thought the seller could have priced it a little bit higher, but yeah, I mean, what are you going to do, right? I mean, these pages from this book or from the series are just hard to come by, and if you're a Rorschach fan, this would be one to have, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably he's sort of the Wolverine of the group. I mean, he's the one that seems like everybody wants. So.
Yeah, Wolverine's part of the X-Men, Mike. Just
no, it's.
I thought he was Hulk. I thought he was a Hulk villain.
It's just a comparison.
All right, Bernie Wrightson, Batman 320 cover from 1980, sold for $60K.
Well, I want to discuss this one. People don't know, if you look in that little left corner, and I sent you 2 images, people don't realize this was actually drawn in 1972, and it predates Swamp Thing 1. And if you look at the bigger image, I don't know if you get the bigger image I sent you, Bill, which is sort of cool. It shows all the write-off dates. It was published in '80, but it was drawn in 1972, which makes this very, very, very early key Wrightson, and that's why it sold for the price it did. You see the 72 in the lower corner.
Yeah.
But if you show the bigger image, which is sort of interesting, they have 3 different times it was written off, in 72 and 75, and I think 77. Then it finally got published in 1980. I guess they finally realized after 8 years, yeah, Wrightson is worth publishing, at DC. But that's why I think if it was drawn in 1980, it would have never have sold for what it did. But to me, I believe that's the earliest published Batman piece of art. There you go. Isn't that cool?
Huh.
72, and then 75, and then 76, and 72, 74, 75, 76. And then they finally published it in 1980. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, that's actually the earliest published Batman piece of art by the Bernie Wrightson, So that's pretty impressive to me because of that,
Well,
right.
that makes a lot more sense than Mike, because I mean this felt like a big number. I mean,
yeah, I thought it was expensive for like a headshot, but yeah, I mean, if it's 72 and Wrightson fans think that that's like his peak.
Yeah, predates Swamp 1. It's drawn wise. That's amazing. So, but yeah, that's why it went so strong, and I think it's a beautiful image too. So,
was that written in the description for that piece?
It was not. They did not write that in the description at all.
Oh wow,
that's interesting. Well, I mean,
all they said was Batman 320, 1980.
I mean, yeah, that actually makes it. I thought it was a very, very expensive price, and for a later cover. But I mean, I wasn't going to be a bidder on this piece either. But if I were targeting something like that, that knowledge would have interested me a lot more. So I think they probably missed the boat in terms of marketing this piece.
Well, for someone that was astute enough as Mike, I mean, that knowledge was quite valuable, because I mean, this era of Batman was sort of the era I grew up on, and I'm familiar with these stories and a lot of the covers, and this is like Garcia Lopez, Irv Novick, Buckler. It was around that era, and Yeah, I mean, it felt hefty. And what's funny is I would say that this cover in the printed comic form really doesn't stand out.
It does not. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
the colors don't look great, but in black and white, it looks really good.
Yeah, no, it stands out more in black and white. But I mean, it's, you know, I can mentally go through, you know, these covers in my head, and this one I probably would miss.
Right. It's not a memorable story, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I think it's like a one-off. So
Right.
but that's interesting.
So yeah, that was one that to me slipped through the cracks, description wise.
The script, yeah, I don't think it slipped through the cracks price wise, but I think description wise,
It still did well, but I mean, I do think they missed an opportunity with Wrightson collectors.
Sure. Yeah, because I believe that's the earliest Wrightson Batman published piece, which is significant.
Okay.
Hey, the first
Disco Fever, baby.
Yeah, everybody loves this one. Yeah, this is
Studio 54.
John Romita Sr. subby number 67 cover went for $46,800.
So the day that I saw this in that they posted this, I put I had this 68 cover which I sold Bill in Comic Art Live, the con,
Right.
Which is the cover right after this, where he also was wearing the uniform. And the reason that I put that cover up for sale was because I wanted to. I decided I was going to sell that one and go after this one. And you know, and then I started thinking about like how high this cover would go, and then I also realized I was going after the Cap story, and so at the last minute I decided that I wasn't really going to do that. But then I had already sold the the 68 cover, so now I have no cover. But are
you allowed to say what you sold the 68 for?
I had it up for $25,000. It was.
Okay. That's a good looking cover too. That's a great cover.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the person I sold it to got a really good deal on my cover, and this cover, while expensive, I think is important, being like, you know, the first costume. Yeah. It went a little higher than I anticipated. I thought it would do like 38 to 40-ish, but it did a little bit more than that, obviously. So I think
we're being told by Ron and Tim we are aware, but thank you. But yeah, I mean, Nick is a huge fan of Subby, you know, and we thought maybe he'd go after one or the other, but yeah, he
went up with both.
So good for him.
Yeah, when I was writing up our auction previews, I used this image from the auction for a long time just because I liked it. I mean, I thought it was a memorable piece.
That's a powerful image.
It is. It really is. And I used that instead of the Jim Lee X-Men cover for more than half of the time.
I mean, come on, Romita, come on, yeah.
Well, you know, and in some respects, like you can look at this,
the disco outfit,
right?
But no, you can look at this cover and say it's Romita's version of Submariner #1, because it's kind of like the same idea of a pose where, like, you know, he's front and center holding the staff, and you know, I think that's probably what Romita had in mind when he was you know, sort of like redesigning the costume and trying to reset the series in this Savage image. So
I mean, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, if Romita really wanted to make him Savage, he should have given him like a goatee, a la alternate version of Spock, you know, when he meets himself. You know? I'm just saying, you know, Subby with a goatee, I don't know, he would have looked a little more savage.
Anyway, this cover really looks good if you're listening to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. So,
what technically was the first year of Disco? Was Disco already out in 73, 74?
I think 74. 74 was like maybe when the Hustle came out.
I thought this was pre-disco, but it sure is disco-ish looking.
Yeah, but remember most movements in music, you know, they become popular. They're existing, you know, before they become popular. So yeah, disco was out, just wasn't popular yet.
Right. I always think of mid-70s for disco, but I know it was earlier.
No, it was earlier, and John Romita probably was, you know, at the disco when he was thinking about this.
There was. Studio 54.
I mean, you would know, Glenn. You know, you
Might have been Xenons.
Moving along, we got another Jim Lee piece here.
wow.
This was Jim Lee X-Men Triptych Commission, done between 2002 and 2012, and it sold for $45,600.
Is just a quick question, because I did not read the description on this. 2002 to 2012. Is that an estimate of when it was done, or was it done over that period of time?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious.
I think it was done like a piece at a time, like like one.
Yeah, it was a piece that left side created 2012. Right side is 2008, and center 2002.
Wow. So they added on.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe whoever commissioned him just couldn't get enough. Could I just keep adding characters onto it? He could have gone for 4.
I was gonna say, give it a few more years, and there's like 2 more end caps there.
Yeah. Huh.
But
very cool.
I mean, that's
pretty awesome for a non-published piece.
I was just going to say, if you had a
published piece,
and as something that is a commission, right? So it's been done in the last 20 years. I mean, how many commissions can you say were resold for, $45,000?
Rarely ever.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you wanted to commission him to do something like this, he would charge you a lot more than that. I mean, wouldn't he charge you like, 20 grand for just one of them? So, probably if you wanted to have him do something like this for you, it'd be like a 60 grand piece.
Yeah.
More than likely. I mean, I can't remember. I've talked with Albert a few times about Jim's rates, because he has taken commissions, not in the last few months, but over the last few years, and I always thought it was in some weird $5K-ish range per character. So
right. Well, but those are like 1 or 2 characters, and they're not as detailed, and
right.
Yeah. This is sort of like cover level commission type stuff. So I think that's probably the ballpark where he would charge. And so I mean, if this particular illustration wows you, I mean, 45 doesn't seem like crazy if that's what you want. So.
$15K for a single figure 11 by 17 character. Is that what he's charging now?
I guess so.
I guess I haven't talked to Albert about Jim's rates in a while. I remember it being around 5, I thought, but maybe for not like all backgrounds and everything. So that's why looking at this, saying it's got 10 characters on it, that's, I don't know. But no, more than fine price for that. But again, if we're looking at commissions, it's got to be one of the highest priced commissions we've seen.
Oh, absolutely.
We can't lump unpublished stuff into there, because commissions are, and at the end of the day, that's special, right? That's a collector going to an artist and asking for something to be done and then reselling it. Because so many people any commission that I've ever gotten, I don't think I've ever sold, nor could I ever imagine selling, right? So it's a pretty special piece for somebody to let go at the end of the day.
The secondary market on commissions is usually not very promising. Usually it's that first interaction with the artist that you're going to see the most amount of money paid. Not in every case, but I think this is an exception to the rule for sure.
Right.
Even though I understand it would cost at least this much, and probably a lot more, to get him to do this level of detail, this many characters, etc. But yeah, commissions, because they're personal to whoever commissioned the piece, and it doesn't tend to have universal appeal. There's no nostalgia factor, so they don't tend to resell for a whole lot more than what they're charged for in the first place, and usually less.
I would agree.
Very cool.
Sorry, let's see. We got a Zek Punisher Circle of Blood trade paperback cover sold for $43,200.
Now, again, these are Zach penciled and then painted by the other fella over top.
Phil Zimmelman. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is like a really big painting, and I mean, this is like the same period as that first series that I think it's like the same time frame
I
as.
think it's a year later. I think. Yeah.
Well, okay.
But real close. Yeah.
So, but I mean, it seems like a big price to me. I don't know. I mean, I assume if the other covers were available, they would do at least as much. But
right,
Yeah.
it's listed as a 20 by 30-inch piece.
Wow.
And it's funny that we've talked about this certainly off air, but size doesn't always help a piece sell for more money. I mean, you think bigger means better, means more expensive, and certainly with Silver Age covers, people like twice up covers. But when you're talking bronze or more modern, bigger doesn't always sell for more. I mean, a lot of people find bigger pieces to be cumbersome. You can't, you're not dragging them in your foley.
It's hard to sell them in person. It's hard to.
Yeah.
Not that we're going to shows right now, but if we were, this might not be the piece that you bring with you in your portfolio because it is so cumbersome. So they are a bit harder to manage,
but even for some collectors feel like, wow, this takes up a lot of real estate on my wall.
right.
And they're not always. I mean, I'm sure in person it's impressive the size, but it's poster size. It's bigger than twice up. It's like 2 twice up pieces. So that's huge.
But I mean, but if you're a collector that this resonates with and this is important to you, then maybe this is all you want on your wall.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was a strong price, but obviously 2 people loved it, so that's all that matters. To get the price up there.
All right, we got a Marvel's Greatest Comics number 39 cover, Starlin and Sinnott for $40,800.
So I sold this about a month ago for $30,000.
I remember that.
And what did it sell for at auction?
What's that?
What did it sell for at auction?
Like 40?
40,800.
Oh, okay.
So the buyer who bought it from me and then decided after they got it in that it just wasn't their cup of tea, put it in Heritage and actually made out. And I'm happy about that because I was nervous that he was going to lose money, but he made a good decision and made some money in the process, which always makes me feel good because I don't want people to feel like they're losing money when they buy something from me.
All I can say is, Glenn, if you sold this a month ago, it's been a long month because I could have sworn you sold this like 4, 5, 6 months ago.
It could be longer than a month ago because they wouldn't have had it in the catalog, right?
Well, but even let's say it was 2 months.
Maybe it's 2 months ago. Maybe I'm just.
It's been a long month or two.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Well, COVID days can be stretched out longer than normal. But no, I do remember when this was in our market report. So yeah, they made out. All right, so this is Kirby and Paul Reinman from X-Men number 2, page 9, sold for $38,400.
I thought it was a strong price.
Yeah.
Feels strong for just a beast page.
For just that, I mean that's the whole thing. It's a lot of beast
Yeah.
on that page, and typically that is not everyone's favorite character when they were all wearing the same uniform.
Yeah,
So-
no, I thought that did very well at the auction.
Yeah.
Now didn't the page 1 splash sell at the last, or maybe
That was the
You're
number
thinking
4.
of 4.
Oh, number 4. Okay, I'm sorry. Yep. But well, maybe that that influenced it a bit. I mean, that one was beast as well.
Well, but the funny thing about that, not to talk about another auction for long, but I mean that in a lot of people's view underperformed. I mean, it certainly underperformed what the consignor was expecting because he had it priced higher and I believe had higher offers than what it went for at auction. So that splash, I think the consensus is it underperformed. So it's this feels heavy, comparatively.
Well, second book, maybe that helped it a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, it helps.
Yeah, no, I mean I think that makes a difference. But
And then we've got Byrne and Austin X-Men 137 page 38 sold for $37,200.
What's interesting is I expected the other page, which I think was from 134 or 5, I expected that to go higher because it's content-wise a better page, better looking page. But this is 137, and it is sort of the last stand of Cyclops and Phoenix. When the Imperial Guard closes in. So I mean, it's a significant moment, or part of a significant moment. But I mean, the other
Right.
page was just better content.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean it's significant, and the top panel is great, but then like the rest of the page is just kind of,
A lot of outer space.
a lot of space stuff.
But I mean, for me, I like both pages. I probably would have rather had this one just for the story myself. And I don't know, I don't know, as dumb as it is, that last panel is like one of the most memorable, images. I don't know why, but as well as the top panel, just from this whole story, the 134 page, I think, and I don't know if I have that. That one was a great one. I would have rather had the page after that when the ship explodes and whatnot. But at least that one you had a lot more team members in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the story was what drove that more than anything. So we have a Steve Ditko Hulk #6, page 12, sold for $36K.
That last panel looks just like the page before, Bill.
It does. It does. Where's the Shi'ar ship? Man,
Well, that battle's taking place right on the other side.
man.
No, I think this page is a little earlier than the other one, fellas.
Yeah, by like almost 20 years.
Well, it's comic books. We can pretend.
It's a very Watchmen kind of layout, though, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's it's structured.
Ditko like to do these 9-panel pages.
Ditko did a lot of 9 panels.
He did, I know.
The top 3 panels are really terrific, and I think this page was well bought at $36,000. That seems like a deal to me.
Yeah, I mean, for what they've been doing privately, and even comparing with the Kirby Hulk pages, and there's far more of those. Not that they're plentiful than the Ditko Hulk pages. At least from the Hulk title, it does seem like a bit of a deal.
There's that panel again, Mike.
Yep. I said I think of X-Men 137 as soon as I see that.
All right. So let's see. This is a John Romita Sr., Gil Kane, Marvel Team Up #24 cover. But let's see. It sold for $33,600.
So I really like this cover artistically. I think, being a big Kane Romita fan, and just like the whole sort of like urban jungle thing that's going on. And, Spidey is kind of small on the cover, I guess you can say. And that's sort of like the thing that sort of made me want to stay away from it. But as a piece of art, I really, really like it. It almost looks like,
Busy cover.
Kane and Romita doing like working for EC for a month, like they.
I said, how many Marvel titles do you see a knife to the throat of a girl? What's ironic? I thought
it's not Mike, not DC, EC, like DC. Oh, you did? Okay, sorry.
I said it gives that EC feel to it.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I had to look it up because I'm going like, I'm looking at the cover. I'm going like, the girl must be black. I go, I'm looking at the comic. I had to bring up the comic. I go, she's white on the comic book. So I said that the girl was Afro-American, but she's white on the comic book. I assumed she was.
Is brother Voodoo white on the comic book too, Mike?
No, he's dark.
Oh.
I just assumed that the girl was a black girl on the cover. That was all.
All right.
This is a very culturally charged discussion on the book. No, what's interesting is that it's more than just a knife to the throat. This is implying sort of a sacrifice.
Right.
Brother Voodoo battles an evil voodoo guy, and they sort of brought the war to Manhattan.
I know. Part of me thinks the comic code have made him hold a club in his hand instead of a knife.
What's interesting about this also is this is like I just watched the other day. I was watching the James Bond movie Live and Let Die, which is the first Roger Moore, and that they have like a whole sort of like Harlem drug lord, Caribbean voodoo, thing, like storyline going on, which is like.
And that's around the same time?
Yeah, it makes me wonder if these guys saw the movie and said, we should do something like that, and we'll bring in Brother Voodoo.
Right. But I mean, for Kane Romita, and it's a Spidey cover, I thought the cover was reasonable for the price. What'd it go for, Bill?
33.6.
33 grand. Yeah.
For Kane Romita.
Well, that's like, how come you didn't go after that one, Mike? That's like something you normally would go after.
Somebody I know was interested in it, so I said okay. So, but for Kane Romita, I mean, think about it. I sold Marvel Tales Kane Romita cover with Spidey and Vulture. I sold that for 50 grand this past year.
So this was a deal.
Well, that cover had a very classic Spider-Man.
Spidey was like really big on, and Vulture were really big on that cover, right?
Spider-Man and Vulture. I think it's a better. I mean, this is a beautifully drawn cover.
They reprinted Spidey 7.
Regardless of pigmentation, it's a beautifully drawn cover.
Artistically, like I said, I love Romita. I always say I'll take Romita inking over anybody versus him and a bad inker. I like seeing Romita's inking even more than his penciling.
But you know what I'll say, and I'm not quite the Romita aficionados as the panelists above and below me, but I've collected my fair share of Romita. This feels a little heavy for John. This feels like a lot of shading, a lot of thick lines.
Yeah, it does.
I said it's a really busy cover. Even look at the background characters, between Brother Voodoo's legs and to the right, the crazy characters and the buildings. I love John because
that's why it really reminds me of an old 50s EC cover, because it really has that sort of. I mean, it's more contemporary and more urban, but it has that horror feel to it. And like if you told me that Johnny Craig inked this, I'd take a second look.
Right.
Because there's some like heavy contrast here.
Right. No, I always said Romita was so beautiful at shading. He's a master of that. I love his covers when he has a lot of dark inks.
Well, this one he really laid it on. He really laid it on.
A lot of like his Milton Caniff like influence here, I think.
Right. Oh.
Very true.
Yippers.
All right. So this was Neil Adams and Tom Palmer from Avengers '93. This one sold for $31,200. Which,
compared to panel pages, from this storyline by Neil, feels like a deal.
I think the only reason it didn't go higher was no Avengers on it.
But that I was going to say,
right.
Captain Marvel and the Skrulls, which is fine. I mean, it's
it's a beautifully drawn page.
If that were there's a little bit.
Oh, we got Goliath at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that until this moment. Because
neither did I. That's why I scrolled down. I couldn't remember.
If you had more Avengers on it, even like captured in the background or something, this this would bump up 30% or more.
Yeah, I think so too. But one of the most sought after issues from the run.
Yeah,
Neil's run for sure.
Beautiful piece.
Yeah.
This is Frank Bruner, Doctor Strange 30 cover. Sold for $30,000, ironically enough.
Yep, that's a beautiful looking cover too.
I think
one off the stands.
I think what we found out recently is the Doctor Strange market is stronger than we suspected, because a lot of Doctor Strange covers have come through Heritage in the past year, and none of them are really slipping through the cracks. I mean, they're doing well.
They are doing. Now it doesn't surprise me, but it did, for a while there, it seemed like the Doctor Strange covers were selling for more than anticipated. But now it seems like this is kind of like the range that they've settled into. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But strangely, that other auction, there were like multiple Doctor Strange covers, and was there another one even in this auction? Like maybe one other, or this was the only one?
There was a splash.
There was right. Yeah, there was a splash. Yep.
So I mean, in a way, like Glenn said, it kind of settled in.
Oddly enough, they have the 30-cent logo. I believe the comic was a 35-center.
And here's the other X-Men, but you did have it, Bill.
I did. So
I'm really partial to this storyline with Dark Phoenix, the Hellfire Club. That is just when she's in the dominatrix outfit with the corset. I mean, this is great stuff. It's great stuff.
Oh no, I agree. I'm looking at it again. I mean, you're right. I mean, I could have seen this one, I guess, going for a little bit more.
I mostly think this is the stronger page, but obviously because of the storyline.
Right. So that other piece was story driven for sure.
Well, I think also is because it was sort of leading into a key moment when, they're making their last stand. But yeah, I mean, I would, as a piece of art, I personally would rather have this page. And again, I like the more Earthbound storyline where they're, sort of going into the realm of the secret society of the Hellfire Club and the Inner Circle. I mean, this is.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. If you this is the page that I'd want as an example, as opposed to the other one for sure.
But this was mind blowing stuff back in 1980. I mean, this was maybe it's the kid in me, but it was mind blowing stuff back then.
Oh no, it was.
It's either the kid in you or the corset.
Some images just stick with you.
Yeah, I think you don't have any 10.0 comics anymore, Bill.
All right. This next piece is from Journey into Mystery 115, Kirby and Coletta, of course. It's the page one splash. It sold for $28,800.
So I thought this piece was well bought. Obviously.
And from the backup story.
Yeah, it's from the backup story, and it's also like, isn't it it's like young Loki and young Thor, and that's probably why it went for less than you would have anticipated. But on the other hand, they don't look like, I mean, Kirby doesn't draw them as like, boys. They look like sort of young men.
So some of the preceding issues, they actually are. They're like, they look like 12-year-olds, whereas here, I mean, Thor is, he's like a teenager, young 20s equivalent. He's almost full grown. So
it's like Thor first year.
Right, Thor year one. Yeah.
Thor
year one. Yeah.
Now this this feels like a deal. It really feels like a deal.
Yeah.
And Vinny doesn't really skimp on the delineation there. He really doesn't.
He looks good. He did a good job here.
Yeah. Good pitch.
This is Neil Adams, Justice League of America 96 cover, sold for $27,600.
I mean, I'll tell you I think if this cover hadn't sold not that long ago in another auction, it probably would have gone for a little more money. Not tremendously more, but a little more money. So.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and I know I probably shouldn't say this, but a lot of people are talking about, like, look at this cover. I always said Heritage to me, they use flash photography. See, to me, the blacks look awful there, and the actual art looks good, but because of flash photography, I think it makes dark inks look like crap.
I thought they used to scan. They take pictures now?
They use the flash. They lay them flat and they take a picture. That's why I said I always get art in and I go, man, the art looks so nice, and the scan they have looks so washed out. And to me, like if you look at, I guarantee you the original art looks great, and to me everything looks faded and everything on there, and I just know I get art in from them and I'm going like, man, the original art actually looks so much better than the scan, because I think they wash out their inks because I believe they have a flash camera that they take these with. Not that I get why they do it for the size wise, but I just think that
well, they used to. Years ago they had scanners. I remember they used to scan.
Yeah, well, you could look at the cape. I guarantee you, the original art is solid black, and it looks so much better.
Yeah, the camera's picking up a lot more than our eyes would have.
That's what I'm saying. I just think that I know scanning it, you don't get all that stuff in it. That's just my feeling on it. I always scan my own stuff when I get stuff in from them. I rarely use their scans, just because I think they wash out a lot of inks that are solid black, but they're not showing as such.
All right, Perez Sinat Silver Surfer pinup from Raging Hulk #8, sold for $26,400.
I'm
like a Perez collector, and that I mean, it's a nice looking piece, and it is Surfer, but It feels a little heavy to me.
It felt heavy to me too, just because it was from the magazine, but it certainly is an early Surfer by Perez, probably one of his first.
Well, it feels very strong, and Perez isn't really known for Surfer. He's had no definitive runs on Surfer, and he's not the artist you think of when you want to get a Surfer piece. So I was pretty surprised at such a heavy result. I mean,
I agree.
$26,000 for this.
This is a 70s piece, correct? Is this like 1970s?
It's fairly early.
I'm just saying it's an early one, and he is in outer space, and I guess
Rampaging Hulk would have been 70s, right?
It's 78.
78.
Okay, well, it's not as early as I thought.
If this had done half what it did, I wouldn't have been surprised.
I mean, I would have guessed 15-ish would have been.
Yeah, no, that was a strong price just because of the title. Now, obviously, if this was FF, then it would have been,
But okay. Jason brought up Infinity Gauntlet, and I was going to say that, and Glenn said there wasn't a definitive, and it's not definitive Surfer, but yeah, I mean, you certainly saw Surfer in Infinity Gauntlet, and besides, Ron Lim, Perez did work on that, but he is not known. Glenn is correct. He is not known for Silver Surfer. I mean, he's known for FF even, but not Silver Surfer.
But it's a beautiful drawing, and
it's nice looking. I've honestly, I don't think I've ever seen the image before. So
I mean, never even remember this image.
Even for somebody that I'm not saying I'm the biggest Perez aficionado.
Yeah, but you're a Perez fan. I mean, I would definitely think that this would resonate if it was an important Perez piece.
But normally magazine stories, I'm just saying in general, magazine pages from the magazines like Hulk and all that normally go for a little less than their contemporary.
They do. This one did strong, but somebody loved it. We're not putting it down. It's a nice.
No. I mean, more than one person loved it, obviously.
It is a surprising result, and Mike is definitely correct that magazine pieces don't have the same exposure as comics. There is not the same nostalgic factor, and they tend to go for less.
Oh.
But again, a great image, and obviously 2 people wanted it, so that's all it takes.
All right. So it's another McFarlane.
Is that from issue 2?
This is from
1.
What's that?
I think that's from issue 1.
Issue 1, page 13, sold for $24,000.
I think it's about right considering there's no Spidey on it.
Right. That's a whole lot of Lizard.
Yeah.
I mean, up until more recent results of McFarlane, well, I guess it is about right. I guess I wouldn't say much less than that.
Full splash, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you couldn't say less than 20 for sure at this point. But it is a lot of Lizard. I hope you like Kurt Connors.
Right. Or the Lizard.
Yeah, there was a splash from issue 6 or 9 that was just sold with a buy it now on eBay for $19,000. Had no Spidey on it. Had Wolverine, and I don't even remember who the other character was on it. I'll have to dig out. It was in my market report today, the auction report I posted.
Okay.
So if anybody takes a look at that, you can see it. But I mean, I was surprised to see that as a sale, particularly on eBay with no Spidey for that price. But it's a great looking page. Let's see. All right.
This one shocked the heck out of me.
Brighton Rubenstein, Iron Man 212 cover, sold for $24,000.
So I talked with an Iron Man collector who I'm friendly with, and thought like that this was a great cover, and I was sort of surprised and shocked because I thought it went for, it's just his head, and it's not like it's I guess Bright is the artist, and so it's not like it's Layton or anything like that, or Romita Jr. And I thought it was kind of a big number for just the headshot.
Yep, same here.
You know what's strange? This is the one of the few pieces. As much as I was in shock and awe of some of the auction results, this is one of the ones I wasn't that shocked about. I'm not saying that I knew it was going to go for $24K, but it shocked me the least just because, we know there are a handful of very passionate Iron Man collectors. And this, even though it is Mark Bright, and, Mark Bright is a fine artist, but he generally does not garner this level of pricing for his covers. And, But this one's just sort of memorable because it's that what is that, the 60th anniversary? No, not the 60th. 30th anniversary.
25th, I think. 1986.
So 25th. Yeah. But
I had the border piece by Romita.
Yeah, no, I remember you had that. But there's some, now I don't know if there's somebody collecting that month with all the the covers with the border, but people remember those covers, and so
doesn't he have an expression on his face that looks like, look, I know you just farted?
Aww.
He is grimacing.
Yeah, he has grimaced eyes, all right.
I mean, luckily there's like no nose port there, but other than that, he doesn't look that happy.
Well, he's inhaling it through his mouth.
Yeah.
No, he looks like he's not taking any shit. It looks like Iron Man is fed up and he's not taking no more.
Oh boy! All right, moving on. I know we
All right. So sorry. This this is the John Buscema, Joe Sinnott, and John Romita Sr. Fantastic Four 117 cover, sold for $22,800.
What did Romita do on this, you guys think?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's why I was a little surprised reading through that.
I mean, maybe like
can you go down to the heads, Bill?
Did he ink the FF heads?
I mean, that looks like that does not look like Romita did those heads.
Yeah, that's Sinnott, I'd say, but I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe he drew the airplanes or something.
What about, can you get a better look at Crystal? I mean, maybe he did Crystal's face or something. No, it doesn't really look like it.
I don't know. I'll try to pull up the description while says John Romita Sr. is reported to have handled art duties on the figure of Crystal, which is an original paste up blended in with white out around the edges.
Well, maybe though.
And yeah, you're right. Now that we're looking at it, you can actually see it. So
I figured if Romita's credited, it's got to be on like a girl. So
yeah,
good point.
But it doesn't stand out. I mean, it's not like, oh yeah, that's John. You look at it, and you're like, maybe.
Right. Anyway, this feels like it was like about what I figured it would go for. I mean, you can't get a cover like this for much less than that. So
right. Pinnacle guy drawing his book.
that is true. This is Sal Buscema Daredevil Annual 2 cover, sold for $22,200.
I thought it was a nice looking cover. Nice looking.
Yeah.
70s
I mean, that feels about right also to me.
Yeah, I think so
about
too.
what you'd expect it to go.
It's a nice
I think the funny thing about this cover is Daredevil feels a little too muscular. Other than that, it's a fine looking cover. It's a good looking cover. But he just feels very muscular.
You prefer your Daredevil a little skinnier, do you?
Well, he just looks very bulky. If you compare to other covers around that era, he just looks very bulky.
He almost looks like Black Panther.
He's pumping. He's pumping iron. But no, it's a good looking cover, and I don't.
If you had that tiger hanging on your leg, you'd be.
You're gonna puff up, yeah, maybe. But
the adrenaline's flowing.
Especially if he's biting you in the Achilles there. But no, I mean, I don't recall ever seeing this around before. Like, I think this.
Yeah,
is
no,
like
it feels like it's fresh. It's like a fresh piece. I don't remember seeing it either. So
yeah,
it's a nice busy cover. I like the background on it.
But this is a reprint, isn't it, of Daredevil 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the early annual is always reprinted.
A lot of detail on that one. I mean, you can see on to the next street. You can see people in the window in that building.
I like that.
Out. I mean, a lot of detail on this.
I like that.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
All right, so this was Kirby Ayers Strange Tales 101.
Yeah,
sold for $21,600.
Yeah, I thought all the pages from this book have done well at auction. Like, whoever bought the book and split it up.
Right. I mean, it's Human Torch #1. It's a splash page. I mean, shouldn't go for any less than 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought it did well. For the buy, I thought it was a good buy for the buyer, whoever that was. FF34.
Kirby Stone 20,400.
Yeah.
I mean, that feels about right, and you know, kind of gets a little the Beetlewig bump there.
Yeah, I said the panel. I love the thing's eyes in panel 2.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's always, pages are always fun when you got like Thing and Torch sort of going at each other. It's kind of classic.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of great shots of Ben lumbering. I mean, he's, you know, it's good.
All the panels are good. I mean, you know, like the final panel is a lot of fun too.
They're pretty much all using their powers, you know.
And that's a good page.
Yeah, I think that page is well bought. I think whoever got that.
And panel 4, I think, is Flame On and Clobbering Time. You get both.
Yeah. No, it really does have everything.
Clobbering my hand, but pretty close.
Clobbering ham. Yep. Oh, very cool.
Yeah. This is a Larson.
Another expensive Larson page.
Yeah, Spidey 327 sold for $18,600. Well, hey,
it's a new day.
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane in training. He's like that's what I think Larson is these days.
Yeah.
Not that, you know, not that he's trying to be the same artist. Just it feels like these, I don't know, these pages have just jumped up so quickly for me to adjust to that.
This is the cosmic powered Spider-Man. This is the issue that came out right after Spectacular 158, where he still has the cosmic powers.
Oh yeah. He's flying away. He's taking on Magneto. Yeah.
He's saving a cruise ship.
All right, a Kirby Russ Heath Tales of Suspense 28 Monster Splash sold for $18,600.
Probably about right. I saw on the boards people were questioning some stuff was redrawn.
Yeah, they were like talking about the train or something being.
Yeah, something was different than the published or something on this. But artistically, I think it's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
It does feel about right, but I mean, compared to some, you know, Kirby Atlas Monster Splashes, it almost feels a little bit light.
Yeah, I thought only because it was the front cover of their catalog. Yeah, see, it was the front cover of their catalog.
I didn't get one of those.
Come on over, Bill.
You just have to go to the live auction, Bill. They hand them out like mints.
I've got to start requesting these.
You know, if you told them that you were the owner and founder of CAF, they might actually send you a catalog, Bill.
I said, I'm sure if you ask, they'll send you catalogs. I assumed you got them, Bill.
I'm gonna start asking for them. I mean, for all the legwork I'm doing.
Bill, I think you deserve a catalog.
Yeah, the way you advertise.
You and your son can look at all the Pokemon cards in there.
Hey, Jason puts up a comment. Even Larson thinks his prices are insane, but remember, a lot of his art from Spidey was lost in a fire, which the jury is still out on how much was lost.
Right.
Well, I think it was a significant amount. I mean, I've talked to him about it. So,
but at one point, it was being said that, you know, there were no covers. There were, you know, and that wasn't true. I'm not saying he said that, but it was being said. No.
Okay.
So this was a unpublished Superman story. Sold for $18,600 from the Schuster studio.
If you check the archives, this was sold in Heritage probably like 7-8 years ago. Also, the same piece sold. I was just curious what it sold for back then, because I remember when this whole story got split up. I bought like 3 pages from the story.
What year is this from?
This is early 40s. It's an early Lex Luthor, too.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have the details up on this one.
Oh, that's okay.
It's all right. I don't really know. I very rarely get those in, so I'm not really up on the market there.
Oh, this is the Heck Woods page.
Yeah, Heck Wood, Avengers 21.
I thought this was like crazy expensive. I mean, it's a Don Heck page inked by Wally Wood, and we all like that, but it was $18,000.
It's felt heavy, but they've been steadily increasing.
Oh,
I mean, they've been going up.
20 to 22 pages in the past few auctions have sold for pretty high prices.
Yeah,
higher than I've ever seen.
But you know, there is not a ton of Wally Wood work at Marvel. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Right.
But I agree with you, Glenn. It feels heavy. It does.
I mean, you've got Captain America throwing the shield, so I guess there's that.
But think about it. Other than the few Daredevil issues, I mean, other than 2020, is there any other? He did a couple. Did he do a couple like Astonish?
He's inked some Kirby work. Like there was a Journey cover. There might be an X-Men cover or two that he inked.
But I think there's a difference between like the Daredevil cover, the Daredevil pages, and the Avengers pages. And, like, you know, he puts in so much more detail when he pencils.
Right.
That isn't here.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean these. You know, when you know. These were cheaper. I mean, they were, I don't know, 50% higher than a Heck page from the same era. Now they're multiples higher.
Right.
Right. And listen, I mean, I think you can get some really, really good looking pages from this era if you get like the Heck pages that were inked by Giacoya. You know, I don't think there is a discernible artistic difference that Wally Wood puts. I think it's more of just a matter of like pedigree, you know, it's a Wally Wood page as opposed to it really looks that much better than the Giacoya pages.
Yeah.
Well, Larry mentioned the standalone Doom story, and our friend Nick mentioned Cap 127.
That's small art. Yeah, I'm talking about Twice Up.
Yeah.
You get any other Wood pages other than Daredevil and these 3 issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will look that up for Twice Up. But yeah,
I was wondering if maybe he inked something into Astonish or Strange Tales back in the
his artwork.
He inked the splash, and I think the page 1 to one of the Tales of Suspense stories. There was a splash that he inked.
Dynamo. It was a Dynamo story.
No. A Marvel story that had Captain America.
No, I mean Iron Man battling Dynamo. I thought he did a story in Suspense.
Yeah. I think he did. He did an Iron Man story too.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah. But okay.
All I know is I shouldn't have passed on the Daredevil 8 cover many moons ago.
I have to confess, I was the buyer of this piece.
This is Marie Severin.
No, it's a fun piece, right?
Yeah,
I just like it. I just think it's so cool.
It's cool.
It's
nice. It has all of them. I mean, it even has like that's an early Captain Marvel on the bottom left.
Right.
I thought it was so cool with Bonnie and Claude.
Wow, the best. I mean, they're all great, but the best expression up there might be Doctor Strange. That's like pretty.
Where he the bottom. All of them with holes in their heads.
Yeah.
I just think Marie did these so well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a 12-cent era, you know. So, yeah, this.
Yeah, since Johnny Craig, right? Iron Man 3.
This one about as expected, just because of like we mentioned earlier. There's just
a lot of Iron Man collectors,
Iron Man guys that are like, it's hard to get anything by them. So
it's true. I mean, I like the issue. I like Johnny Craig, obviously. I don't know that this is the shot of Iron Man that I'd want, particularly in my collection.
You always think, would you really frame that and put it on your wall and just say, "I love this Iron Man page"? Nice.
Listen, guys, Pepper loves Tony from this
oh my goodness.
angle.
Yeah.
Man.
So does Bethany, but that's later.
Well, if okay, I'm not even going to go.
Moving on. Bill Everett, Submariner 54 page from 72 sold for 16.2 as well.
So this is a great page. I love Bill Everett from this period.
My splash, it's pretty freaking awesome.
Although I didn't anticipate. I thought it would do like 10 to 12. I did. What did it do? Like 16?
Yeah.
16.2.
I was thinking 10 to 12 exactly myself, but I could see why it sold for what it did. I mean, it's really like 2 half splashes together. It's a good looking page.
It's
pretty gorgeous.
You've got good shots of Submariner and he's in water, which you always want. And
that could be the 60s or like the 50s or 40s, the way Everett's drawn them. I mean, it's just
it's beautiful art. It's
definitively
Bill Everett pencil and inks. I mean, this is some of his very best work.
That's him at his best. Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, like I said, 12 would have been where I pegged it. So.
This was Byrne and Milgram.
Channeling Steve.
I
Yeah,
said,
I mean,
aping Ditko to the T. That was pretty cool. I thought it was a cool piece.
it really is a neat piece, and yeah, it really feels like Ditko there.
Well, given where Byrne pieces have been performing, particularly lately, I actually thought this was going to go slightly higher, and I do mean slightly, like maybe 18 to 20. And I think it did about 15. Bill,
13.8, Bill.
That's correct.
13.8. Okay. Yeah, I would have put this in the mid-teens, but
I'm actually sorry. It was 15.6. I'm sorry.
15. Okay.
I was looking at the wrong one.
Okay.
But yeah, a little bit under what I would have expected. But yeah, pretty faithful to Ditko.
Oh, great.
Yeah, a cool piece.
And this was Romita Senior, unpublished Spidey 81, sold for 15.
Yeah.
I mean,
to me, it's about right. I sold this to a collector for a little bit less than that.
Yeah, their description, I mean, they changed it a couple times. Yeah. I don't think they knew how to describe it. And even, I'm familiar with this piece because I own the published version, which I got in a deal from Mike. I don't know, it was before or after you sold the unpublished, but the description sounded confusing. I mean, and I don't know. That's
the only original piece of art is the Spidey section. I mean, the rest of it is a stat.
The rest of it's stat.
But right, that we're looking at just where you see that little line, everything below. But I mean, the cars and the curb, all that stuff drawn. Everything is drawn there that you see below that line, that horizontal.
Okay.
I mean, given where Romita's senior pre-100 Spider-Man covers are, I mean, this is a way to get that at a lower price point, and it's a fine image. I see why it was rejected. I think the Spidey pose is a little bit awkward.
Right.
But
the published definitely blows it away.
But I mean, to me, the description was confusing, and that's even knowing this piece fairly intimately, it was confusing.
I thought it sold about right, though.
But I mean,
it doesn't feel like it was expensive. It doesn't feel like it was cheap. I mean, it's
right.
It's about right.
Yeah.
If somebody wants an example, they got it.
Very true. This is Gene Colan, Claus Jansen, Howard the Duck 18 cover sold for. This is the one that sold for 13.8.
Right.
I mean,
there's less than the other ones that have sold for.
Yeah, I mean, they some of these have sold for some pretty hefty numbers. It's funny because they're one of the biggest Howard the Duck collectors is in my area, who was collecting this stuff many years ago. I don't know if he's still active, but I suspect that a lot of these pieces came from him originally, and there's always been a cult following for Howard stuff. I mean, even back in the day when prices were much lower, Howard pieces were sometimes selling for more than a lot of more popular superhero pieces. So there's always been sort of a cult following.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels like compared to some covers we've seen that it went a little bit on the light side.
Mm-hmm. Color guide.
Yes, I included it for that reason. It's John Higgins from Batman: The Killing Joke. Of course, it sold for $13,200. This was for the watercolor, basically. And I know when it was printed, I think it was blue lined and then watercolored. And then when it was printed, they actually had what was it, like a acetate overlay or something for all the line work, I think. So I thought that was a really solid price for something that is technically just a color guide. Yeah.
Bill, you have immersed yourself, my friend. You knew more about that than I think the rest of us did.
Yeah.
Well, when I was reading through everything, it stands out when I'm going through the list because it's in color, and I'm thinking, why did it only sell for 13.2? And then just trying to read a little bit about it. But I don't know. I mean, I think as far as a color guide goes, I don't think you'd see something go for that high. But
no, that feels heavy for a color guide, even for Killing. I mean, I know a lot of times guys try and price color guides like, well, if it's Byrne X-Men, it's going to be worth a lot more than Byrne whatever else, as a color guide. But it's like, it's beautiful. It's part of the process, but it's still a color guide. I mean, I don't know that there's such a hierarchy, but I guess to some degree there is.
If you had offered me that for $2,000 before the auction, I would have said no.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
Well, okay. it's their origin of the Joker as well.
Yeah, it's a color guide.
I would have told you to buy. I would buy that for 2. I wouldn't hesitate. I would tell you to buy that for 2.
All right. Well, I better ask you if I'm ever offered for.
But I wouldn't have known to buy it for 10 and sell it for 13. That I wouldn't have known.
All right. So this is a Murphy Anderson Planet Comics 50 Splash, sold for 13 too.
Very cool looking.
Very cool piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous for its age.
Yeah, you don't see many pieces from this era.
And again, I hate to say it, to me, the blacks, I think, because of that flash photography, I just think the blacks look awful, whereas the regular piece of art, I bet, looks stunning.
Yeah, you're probably right, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you.
Well, the contrast with the black area around on that staff versus the real.
I guarantee you, the original art the blacks look solid black when you have the original art in your hand.
What's interesting, though? There have been a steady stream of Planet comic artwork coming out. I've noticed, not just in Heritage, but other auctions as well, and in a few private sales. So I wonder, is there like a Planet Comics collector that's slowly?
This is from the Anderson estate, I think. This.
Okay. So I don't know if the other. I haven't paid attention that closely to know if the others were Anderson. But I just noticed Planet Comics.
Planet Comics.
There's a there. It's Uranus.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, doesn't that remind you of X-Men 137, Mike?
There it is again.
See? Man, there's a theme going on with this Heritage auction.
See if we can find the most expensive page with a planet on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this was one that I thought I was blown away by the price.
Yeah, Greg LaRocque and what is it? Frank Giacoia, Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 15 Punisher pinup for $12,000.
Yeah, that seems pretty pricey.
Pretty heavy, yeah.
Well, this one it's beautiful pinup and everything, but wow, I would have guessed like $5,000 on it. But again, just got all you need is 2 people going after something and prices go up. So
well, this is sort of before Frank Castle became the Punisher, because he's like Junior Punisher. He's like a smaller framed guy. He's not like that big imposing, character that we've come to know. There was a different look. They hadn't quite figured out the definitive Punisher look yet.
You definitely don't want to team this guy up with muscular Daredevil.
Yeah. Daredevil will just flex and crack his neck.
Daredevil will kick his ass at this point.
Man.
Probably around the same era, right?
That was from 81.
Oh, yeah, a little later. Okay.
All right, so this cover kind of surprised me, I have to say. It went for $11,400, and I get that it's like, Batman and Catwoman, but I did not realize that John Romita Jr.'s Batman covers were going for those numbers. I thought they were much.
Bill, Glenn, I just think it's because the dominatrix Catwoman. I think that's why.
You think so?
See, there's another thing going on there, another theme. You got Dominatrix Phoenix and now Dominatrix
there you go.
Catwoman.
Yeah, Will has that book. It's not going to be a 9.8 anymore.
But I mean, it doesn't surprise me at the end of the day. I think
so much I could say, Bert.
Romita Jr. I'm trying to keep this thing on topic here.
Right. I understand that.
We're not going to stray too far, Bill. Don't you worry.
All right.
I feel like I feel like this is a record for Romita Jr. Batman cover, though.
That's a lot.
I would agree.
I mean, this, Spider-Man covers by J.R. Jr., at least the modern versions don't always fetch that. I mean, some do, but many don't. So
I think his Spider-Man's are still like 6 to 7 or something. No, that's pretty strong.
Well, I would have pegged this at like $6,000 or
I would have as well.
What I thought too.
Well, it's 2019, so it still feels new. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. It's a nice image, great image.
And I believe this is the last of the ones I picked, and we've got a couple that Mike had set aside.
Yeah. I said I think this sold for $9,000, right?
It did sell for $9,000. Al Milgrom, She-Hulk 21 cover.
I just say it's from the first series, and there's a lot of collectors that like this stuff. So
there's also going to be there's like a She-Hulk television show coming too. So I think these things have popped in value lately.
And there's a couple collectors that are like, you know, She-Hulk, Spider-Woman. They love these 70s heroines, Marvel heroines. So, it's a fine looking cover. I like Al Milgrom's art. I mean, I kind of grew up on it. I just couldn't figure out who this villain was. I mean, I don't think I read this issue.
I know, it looks like an offshoot of the Beetle.
I mean, it looks like a little bit of, there's Adaptoid there, there's Beetle, there's like Hulk arm. I didn't know what this villain was.
There's no way this villain gets to play in the major leagues, though. He's seriously on steroids.
Well, I said it almost looks like an offshoot of Venom that put some baseballs on his eyeballs.
With the baseball stitching on his forehead there.
But it's a dramatic cover, and
it is. I love the black.
Like 9K doesn't surprise me on this thing.
No. And again, I hate to say it, but that flash photographer, I think, makes those blacks not look so black.
Didn't look as bad on that one, but I think that's about right for that. I think
I wanted to show in particular the one piece with Spider-Man and all the heroes on it. But this one, I will tell everybody, I bought this one. It's a Wayne Boring recreation. I thought it would look awesome, and I thought it was a steal for $1,600 and something or whatever.
What size is this, Mike?
It's big. It's very big.
What year did he do it? Do you know?
I don't. I think in the 80s, but I was here we are, I'll tell you. But I thought it was awesome because I've had some of his borings, but here he did this. It's 18 by 24.
Oh, even bigger.
Image area of 18 by 24.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's gorgeous. I know my buddy Pete in California called me up. He goes, I love that action cover. I go, I bought it. He goes, I thought it'd go for like $8-10 grand. I go, it went for $1,600. I couldn't believe it.
Wow, you'll do well with that, Mike. That's
I gotta get somebody to make a logo. I think it's and it's an action 82 cover recreation is what it is.
I don't think you need a logo. I think you want to keep it that way.
Yeah, with it being
I like doing it. Sometimes you can make them on acetate, so you still see all the color and everything behind it.
Yes, but I mean, like with color cover or painting, you don't. I don't know. My feeling is if it's black and white, it looks better with a logo. If it's color,
really?
It is painted, right? It's not like marker or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put a logo over painting.
Acrylic. It says acrylic over graphite.
I'm with Glenn on that. I wouldn't mess with that. I'd leave it as it is.
I thought it was a cool piece. But I wanted you to see the piece with Spider-Man and all the heroes, Bill, if you have that. Because you guys probably didn't see it. This is one I was surprised at the price on that. It's a great-looking cover with Luthor and Soup, but Ernie Chan for $12,000. Woo. What's your guys' thoughts?
Ernie Chan did a little more in the last auction, right? There was an Ernie Chan.
I think Batman and Soup. I think Batman.
Well, yeah. I mean, Batman is more popular, but I'm just saying, went higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is surprisingly a little higher than I would have anticipated. I mean, Batman is one thing, but Superman covers tend not to go this high.
As high as Batman, yeah. But yeah, if you have the other, this is the calendar piece from 1978 calendar with Ross Andrew.
Cool. So I thought this was a cool piece, and it went for a good price. And I actually had forgotten that I wanted to bid on it, and didn't do it that day. So whoever bought this, I think got a good deal.
Yeah, cool piece. See, now this is a spring recreation. I thought it sold for $8,100. I thought that was a pretty strong price, but classic cover, early Batmobile, but $8,100. I know I've had some in the 5 range that I couldn't sell sometimes, but this is a great looking cover.
It's funny though. It seems when you see these recreations, I mean, collectors seem to get jazzed about them. They definitely garner attention.
I said Batmobile for me adds a thing. Ron Lim just said he won it. So I said the Batmobile thing is really freaking cool on that Golden Age Batmobile.
It is cool.
Oh yeah, no, that's one of the best versions of the Batmobile for sure. For sure.
This is a Ross Andrew cover. It went for $6,300. I thought that was a pretty strong price for an Andrew DC Comics Presents cover.
I actually sold this, I think, last year for not a lot less money, as part of a larger deal that somebody took several pieces from me. So I gave them a little break, but I don't remember exactly what I sold it for, but somewhere $5,000 and change. So
cool.
Early in the run.
I have to confess, I was the purchaser of this. I thought it was a great piece. I mean, you get beautiful Doctor Strange, a beautiful Clea, beautiful Beverly Ann Howard in open season, sort of like duck season, wabbit season, duck season. You know? That's an early one, if you remember that episode of Bugs Bunny. You know,
it's hard to forget that. And
that only went for $5,500, and I thought it was great just because it has Doctor Strange and Clea on it with Beverly and Howard.
Right.
Pretty cool piece.
Yeah, I think that was a good deal.
Inked by Steve Lealoa, who to me, is one of the best 70s Marvel inkers too.
Especially over Colin.
And again, I bet you any money in person, those blacks on the outside that look like little zigzag lines, I'm telling you, the original art will look a lot better than using that.
Now this is a good example. It's a really good example for Howard, and it's a bonus that Doctor Strange is there, Clea and Beverly. So
yeah, that was really well bought, Mike.
I thought so.
And Ron Lim, who won the spraying, congratulations as well. He mentioned that.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's very little spraying. And again, I have to say, I bought this also. I thought it was a phenomenal buy. A 14-page Golden Age story by Kurt Schaffenberger. And there are so many great battle pages. And I mean, the whole 14-page story with the Jews sold for $7,800. I think the splash is a fantastic splash, and there's a ton of battle pages, and I was happy to buy it. I've had Bill Ward Captain Marvel. I've rarely had any Kurt Schaffenberger Captain Marvel Jr., and he's known for Captain Marvel Jr. back then. You know, this is like around 1951 or something. So I thought it was pretty cool, and there's not a lot of Captain Marvel Jr. out there. So
you'll do well with that. That was a good buy.
But you have that Spider-Man piece. Now, I didn't get this one. I thought this was a great buy in the auction. This is just, I believe, a Starland splash. It went for $8,100. I thought it was pretty awesome. From Marvel Premiere issue 8 or something like that, Bill?
I'm out of order on mine now since I'm running through your stuff. And so I'm going to get to that Spider-Man one that you want. I just don't know where it is.
Because I want the two guys, because they don't even, Glenn and Bill don't even know about it. So I want to get their opinion on it.
Sure.
But I just thought it was cool. People talked about it. Andrew Mooney splash from Marvel Team Up 7 went for, I think, $7,200. Sort of cool.
Although I do think we have to wrap.
I
do think we have to wrap up soon. But yeah, let's get.
I just want to get to that Spider-Man piece. Before Pope cover did well. The Keown. 13, I thought that sold well. This went for 7,000 plus from Annual 5. I thought that was a pretty strong price.
It's just a spectacular panel at the bottom.
I bought this one also. Only went for $1,600 by Fred Ray. I thought it was a phenomenal piece.
You are on a golden age roll, my friend.
World's best #1. You know, the first World's Finest comic book.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
Very cool. That's coming up. Keep going. We already talked about that one.
Well, we didn't talk about this on air, but yeah, this is.
You did. You said it was the first. Was it before the first?
Yeah, that was before we went live. Yeah, it's the first. I'm pretty sure it's the first master mold.
That one went, I think,
first Sentinel storyline, but I think it's the first master mold.
Oh, okay. I think that went for $13,200. Jack layouts, Warner Roth pencils. Should be there, Bill. Is it like the first ones?
I don't know. Maybe I don't have it. What was it from?
The Spider-Man. It just says it was in the Saturday auction. I can send it to you. It was in
Bill, find it quick. He's going to get violent.
Are you talking about the piece that looked like Romita?
Yep.
Yeah, that was definitely a Romita piece.
It's definitely Romita. I'm sending it to you right now. Just
Well, just tell me what the auction. I can
oh,
pull it up.
the lot number. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Well, not even the lot number. Just is it Romita Senior is
No,
listed on it?
no, it's just listed as Marvel Artist. That's all they listed it as on Saturday. Marvel.
Yeah, and
Artist.
it did like didn't it do like 7,000?
Yeah.
Did you buy it, Mike?
I did.
That was a good buy because
I wanted to get your opinions. I go, this is Romita, and I don't know what it's from.
it's definitely Romita.
Definitely.
Yeah, you didn't send this one to me. I'll just pull it up right now, though.
Here, yeah, I have it right here. I'm sending here. I just sent it to you for what it's worth.
Well, Mike, I can tell you that I before the auction, I showed that piece to Romita Jr.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and I asked him if his dad did it, and
there it is. Yeah.
he said for sure his father did that.
I'm surprised that the Heritage people didn't know that. That's a John piece all the way.
But you know what's odd is he didn't sign it. I mean, rarely does he miss signing.
And somebody said that to me, and I go, rarely does he not sign his art? But obviously, not for merchandising, it probably just went. But that's a pretty cool piece.
That's a good piece. You did well with that. In fact, I meant to circle back and bid on it, but I wasn't looking at the auction that day.
Well, again, it didn't go cheap, so obviously somebody else thought the same thing. So
Right, but it's worth more than $7,000.
I think so. Being by John, I'm just curious on the year. But
it looks to me. If I had to guess, I would say it's like mid 80s.
I was going to say 80s. Because obviously Wolverine's in his newer costume. But yeah, I just thought that. I'm just surprised that they just listed as Marvel Artist.
Well, you can like the way he does Spider-Man on this looks like not his 70s Spider-Man, but more.
Yeah, that's
80s. Totally.
That's mid 80s.
And if you look at that, just look at the spider emblem on his chest.
Well, and the giveaway is Wolverine's costume. I mean that's around 1980.
And then the bowl haircut for the Hulk.
I said he always had a little shorter hair on the Hulk later on, right. But yeah, I thought it was a cool piece. So.
Yeah, no, that was a good buy, Mike.
So you'll have to figure out, or you'll have to ask John where it.
I would love to. Yeah. So that was it. I just thought that was interesting.
My money's on a Hardee's ad.
It's quite possible, not probable.
But I'm not making a formal bet with you, Berkey.
She-Hulk is on the Hardee's ad. She-Hulk is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they don't say anything in the description, just saying it's
right.
Most likely licensing art.
Right. But that was it.
All right, well, guys, we should kind of wrap up because
definitely
it's getting late here.
Yeah, this was a marathon for sure. But no, this was fun. I mean, I think their next signature auction is 2 months from now too, which is weird.
Like second week of January, I think.
Yeah. Second or third week of January. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have the next one listed after that. I haven't set the date for Comic Art Live because last year they had they had a signature auction in May. So I did email them and ask them, is May going to be another signature auction? And they've confirmed that the whole month is clear. So I don't really know. I think they're doing a major European auction in March. So I don't know if that means April is going to be the one after the next one, or how they've got it going. But
the European one is March 12th and 13th. I saw.
Yeah,
but they don't have anything listed after that.
Hey, Bill, before we go, highlight Jimmy's comment, second one up.
I'm not one.
All I know is if I buy a piece at the next auction, I'm not watching the calf recap. Still, brutal honesty is the best. Thank you.
All right, we'll try and you just let us know in advance what you bought. We'll try and take it easy on you.
Hey, for the most part, I'd say most of the pieces we've said were good buys or about right where you expected them to be. It's
like anything else. There's some that sell below what we think, some that sell more than
its artwork is always subjective. It's in the eye of the beholder. It's not to put down anybody's art, but we're more looking from a market comparison, as to what things have gone for historically or even, contemporary examples against the ones.
Yeah, I mean, we see, obviously as dealers, we see a lot of art, at various prices, and we all have our opinions on what things are worth, but that shouldn't discourage you from owning a piece at a much higher number that is meaningful to you. It's just we try and we try and give our honest appraisal of where we think the marketplace is, and that's.
I mean, look at Glenn. He spent $60,000 more than what the Captain America story was actually worth, but he loved it, so it doesn't matter.
Oh man, now we're being brutally honest.
Yeah. Well, Mike, as the underbidder, it couldn't quite have been 60,000.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. I bid 2,500 less than you, so we obviously thought the same thing. How great that story! That's a great story. It's phenomenal. It's the best '70s Cap story you ever drew. So,
all right.
I think he meant it. You got it for 60,000 less than what it's actually worth.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Isn't that what I said?
Right. I think that's what you said.
All right, gentlemen.
Right,
thanks again. This is 3 consecutive weeks that we've done this show, so we're not going to be on next week at all. We've got a break, but we will be back 2 weeks from tonight.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Be safe.
Yeah,
exactly.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.